When you think of sports in the inner city, this is probably one of the last things that comes to mind. Although rowing has a long, rich history and is one of the oldest sports competed in at the Olympic Games, it's relatively new to Chicago's waterways, at least for this group of kids. Recruited from schools across the city's south and west sides, many of these crewmen come from some of Chicago's toughest neighborhoods. And although many look like seasoned, skilled rowers, most came to the sport without any idea of how it worked, or in some cases that it even existed.
I heard of my soccer coach in grammar school, so he told me if I heard of rowing, I never heard of it.
I'm positive I've heard about it before, but I never actually thought about trying it because it's like, oh yeah, in the water, little oar thingies, you move up and down, fun, great.
Getting them informed and interested fell squarely on the shoulders of Montana Butch, a native Chicagoan who has rowed competitively as a member of both the University of Pennsylvania and Oxford University crew teams. Being a city kid himself, he knew that trying to sell such a foreign sport to kids who grew up playing basketball, soccer, and football, among other things, was going to present certain challenges.
The biggest issue that you have at the outset is worrying if the sport is cool. It seems to be like a white elitist sport. It's only that because those white elitist schools are the oldest schools in the country that have embraced the sport since the beginning of time.
Once he explained away the misconceptions, Butch offered those who were interested a chance to join the Chicago Training Center, an organization he started back in 2007 in order to use the sport of competitive rowing as a way of promoting personal growth through teamwork, discipline, physical fitness, and educational excellence.
I'm looking for kids that are willing to try something new, understand what it's like to be dedicated, to give it a go, and to be able to stick it out for long enough time to understand what it is that they're doing as opposed to judge the sport too quickly.
On one level, the program instructs kids how to rig a quad, hang at the catch, then bury the blade. But on another, it teaches them lessons they can carry with them off the water and into their everyday lives.
What's really nice about rowing is that unlike soccer, for example, where one player can take over a game, in the rowing environment, if one person in that crew is not doing exactly what everyone else is doing, the boat doesn't go anywhere. You can't compete. You can't even line up at the start line and even participate. So even a poor crew that gets through a race have already managed to learn something, have already managed to put in practice skills that will help them off the water in their regular life endeavors. And that's where rowing is really a much different sport.
With additional help from After School Matters and some good old-fashioned word of mouth, the training center has grown very organically since its inception, from 15 members to now just under 60. They range from 8th graders to seniors in high school. And for those just starting, the sport can seem daunting. Upon getting in a boat, they discover that it isn't as easy as it first may appear.
It was really scary because every time the boat tipped, I would think that I might fall out. And since I had no idea what the orders were and I was freaked out, I didn't know what to say or to do. And it was really scary, but fun at the same time.
At first it is difficult, but then throughout the long run, it seems easy. But it gets tougher because they want you faster.
There you go, sit up, elbows through the body, push it through. Let's get some speed. Hands up, get the blade in the water. Good, have some fun. Have some fun.
These rowers, whose expectations of what they'll get out of the sport are as varied as the physical qualities they bring to it, all have one thing in common. Once they get on the water, they learn rather quickly that in order to succeed in a sport like rowing, being a great athlete isn't necessarily the most important attribute they can bring to the water.
The only thing that's really innate is that they have to have the ability and the willingness to work hard. As long as they have that, someone that can be really inept at every other sporting endeavor they've ever tried can be exceptional within rowing, because really all it requires is the right mindset.
And just ask the kids involved in the training center what that mindset consists of, and they'll tell you without hesitation.
I would have to say commitment. You know, you have to be committed to the sport. You know, it's really difficult. You know, once you get the hang of it, you know, it's really fun, but you have to be committed.
It just takes dedication, time, and, you know, listen to your coach, because not a lot of people do that, but they mature and then they do it.
Commitment. Yeah, if you're not committed, then you're not going to get anywhere. If you want to get better, then you'll make yourself better by trying your hardest. But if you don't try hard, you're not going to get any better.
This commitment to the sport is manifest in the fact that the Chicago Training Center program runs throughout the year. During the winter and early spring, members train indoor on ergometers, or ergs, at a facility located in Gage Park. By mid-spring, they're in the water, launching from a spot on the Chicago River near Bubbly Creek. It's here where their preparation becomes more tangible, as they prepare for local and national competitions, which typically conclude by the end of the summer or early fall. 5 days a week, they come out to discover and expand their limits, practicing their technique until they're gliding down the Chicago River with their teammates, developing lifelong friendships, and realizing that for all that rowing demands of them, it gives back tenfold. And above all else, they learn the essence of the word team. In rowing, there are no individual medals. The success of the boat is all that matters, and all must work together in harmony to achieve it.
It's indescribable. I mean, when you're all rowing together, and, you know, it's a great feeling, you know, but it's hard, but, you know, it's a great feeling when that boat's moving straight down the water. Everybody's working together.
In a sport that is, at its essence, an exercise in timing and consistency, there seems to be a very high level of buy-in for those that stick around and put in the work. Ultimately, the goal of the Chicago Training Center is that the experience with it will leave these kids in a better place than when they started. Whether that's in a position to be a more sound, prepared college applicant, or even someone with the skills to be recruited to row at the next level. Now that the center's first classes have officially crossed the finish line and moved on, Montana Butch is able to see the effect he and his program are having on these kids.
We were pleasantly surprised when two of our graduates that happened to go to the same school and they're now best friends got accepted into Exeter Academy out on the East Coast, and they're doing a PG year, which is a fifth-year high school year, on full scholarship. So both of them were lucky recipients of a $40,000 education for next year that hopefully then they'll parlay into a really good college acceptance after that.
Based on these early successes, the future of the Chicago Training Center looks bright. As the program continues to grow, so will the number of kids positively affected by it. There's still a lot of work to be done to get the program to where Butch ultimately wants to take it, namely across the country. He'd like to see the Chicago Training Center serve as a model for other cities to replicate.
You know, that for me is the long-term goal. That might not happen until I'm fully gray, but at the same time, you know, I'm very much excited about the process. I very much enjoy working with the kids. I don't consider it a job, and every year, or at least every month, is better than the one before it. So I definitely see this getting bigger.